What's the real reason most companies struggle? Is it a marketing problem, a people problem, a process problem? Well, this week, we are sitting down with the legendary Alex Ramirez of Total Team Transformation to answer these questions. It is almost always a leadership problem. We're going to cut through the excuses, break down the barriers of the silos. We're going to get to the Gemba and get humble. If you're in charge, this episode is for you. Enjoy. What are we discussing tonight, Alex?
We're going to discuss about leadership, right?
We're going to discuss a lot about leadership.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that you and I see eye to eye on. And I don't know, it's almost always the leader's fault. So I think we're going to talk about leaders.
We had a great experience today.
Well, okay, what did we do today?
Today we went to help a company.
We can keep it general, too.
Yeah. That believed that they could do a very good output. And we proved to them, just by looking at the waste, they could do, what was it, like 5 times more? 4 times?
7.2 times more.
7.2, there you go. The better number, you had the number.
So it was 7x. So one person could do 720 pieces, but they currently have 3 people doing 100. Less work, doing 7x more. We haven't even improved the place yet. We were just there. We gave some guidance stuff. We're like asking questions so they kind of get the concept and they're like, oh shit.
With possibilities to set the ground to grow exponentially with a great standardization effort.
Oh, yeah. But Alex and I are currently talking around the sexy stuff. Everyone wants to do the lean. Oh, it's a manufacturing consultants coming in. Oh, it's production. First off, there's 2 things. The first thing is it's never production's fault. Not never. It's usually not production's fault. Usually it's someone in the office fucked something up. Normally it's his office fault. And the second thing is, if you're upset and you're listening to this, or if you're listening, you're like, yeah, damn right it is. Listen, show this to your office folks because it's true. Usually there's an office defect that could accidentally create weeks of work for the people in the Gemba. So that's the first thing. But the second thing outside of that is leadership. It all comes down to leadership. And I don't want to talk about the peer leadership or the servant leadership. We're just going to say everyone should have peer leadership, servant leadership, be humble, ground up, everyone's a leader, blah. We're talking about the upper level leadership today, the owner.
Well, one point, I'm just thinking on this experience today, one thing they got caught up on was who should do the job. And so they were a little bit, not fighting, but you got to do it from the field end, out in the ground. No, manufacturing should do it. No, the field should do it. Who installs these parts? No, the who manufacturers should do it. And so that's a very typical reaction when they work on silos.
This Department A is a pissing contest with Department B. Oh, I'm the production guy. Oh, I'm the sales guy. Oh, sales is terrible. Oh, it's the office people are terrible.
And it's all about leadership because they should give the tone of sensibilizing their teams to think what is the best for the customer.
Right.
And if they focus that mindset, then they can find the best way, who does it at one time and at what cost, if it makes sense for the customer, if it's going to bring added value. And especially big organizations, it's very silo oriented.
So
the way it's set up.
Terrible.
So that is very important, is don't lose focus of the customer because
you start with where is the customer? And of course we all know internal customer versus external customer, but damn, just think about the external customer. How do we serve the external customer? I'm not saying don't serve the internal customer, you clearly need to, but if you're doing business-based decisions, because today we were talking about, these were 2 managers that were debating in front of us, and no one thought about the customer. They were just thinking about their own position.
Yeah. What does that impact me instead of how does that impact the customer?
Yeah, I don't want to do it. I think they should do it. They shouldn't do it. I should do it. And you need the leadership, one rung above them, right? You need the executive level. You need the ownership level. You need the CEO level to say, no. What does a customer need? None of us have jobs without a customer.
And the other point that we see often and we saw today is the leadership needs to be in Gemba. We said that many times, but more than being in Gemba is he needs to be curious enough to try to at least understand what's going on. He doesn't need to be the expert.
Does not need to be the expert.
Because the experts we know is people who are working on the Gemba, working with the equipment, working with the workstations, touching the product day to day, but at least they need to be in synchronization and touch with sensibilizing how that shop is working. And so many times they're disconnected.
You said that very nicely, very well. Can I rephrase what you said?
I know where you're going.
If you're a CEO, pull your fucking head out of your ass, get away from your mahogany table, and go in the fucking Gemba. And if you can't do that, and your leadership can't do that, you probably shouldn't be in charge and deserve every bit of all the horrible things that are coming to you and the bitching and moaning because you refuse to actually go lead by example. I think that's what you meant to say, right?
It all goes back to caring.
Right.
What is happening.
So can you expand on that?
Well, think about this way. We all say we care about the customer, but if you're not out there trying to understand what is happening with your people, with your shop floor, and it doesn't have to be a shop floor, it could be a service company. So wherever the value is happening, right?
Yeah. Go to the Gemba.
It could be a restaurant, it could be how you're flying a plane, it could be how you're making pencils.
I'll give you an example. All right, I have this British friend of mine. And he's a CEO of a mid-sized company, service-based company, great hair, all right, maybe late 40s, early 50s, drives an electric vehicle, cool guy. He was like, oh man, I have all these ideas, I have all this stuff, but I want my team to come up with the idea. I'm like, cool man, lead from the front. I was like, all right, just shoot the video of this thing. They need to perform 30 services per day per service technician in the field, or else they'll go out of business. And I was like, yeah, man, you got a guy, he does 60 a day? Go film that guy. Yeah. Film him. Why is he doing so good? And he's like, oh my gosh. But I want to delegate. I want to let my team do it. I want to guide him to it. And 3 months go by. I'm like, yo, man, you have that video yet? He's like, oh no, I'm just so frustrated with my team. They're just not doing it. They're just not doing it. Oh, dude, if I were there, I would make us get in your car and we would drive to where that guy was, because he's in a different place every day, and we would film him. And 3 hours later, we have a video to then train, to do Yokotan to do the dojo, to cross-train, 3S time, everybody do this standard. You still don't have that video. It's been 5 months.
The power of now, right? They should have applied the power
If they're listening to this right now, sexy hair, just think if I'm like, man, I'm a CEO, I have sexy hair, I'm British, good glasses, driving EV. Do you have the video, man? Is it done? Because I haven't seen the video. Why not doing it now? Why not do it now? Go lead by example. You gotta set the example for your guys.
Today was a great example. We were at this company we're mentioning, and Hugh was teaching them about one-piece flow. And after the training, he sees the machines and says, do you guys see the waste? Did you see the one-piece flow where you could apply and how it relates to the game that you were applying to show them, right? And he just said, look, let's do it. And in 15 seconds, we were moving machines and turning things around and getting tables out of the shop and clearing out. We basically used 1/3 of the shop to do 7 times more production than what today they are achieving. So it's clearly the power of now. Just do it.
Just do it.
And the biggest lesson for me, not the one-piece flow concept, it was just do it. Try it.
Just do it right now.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's such a struggle, right? We have some people with, the people with egos, they already turned the camera off when I, told them earlier. They're gone. The people who are still listening are the people who are going to change. What do you think it is about, why do you think you and I preach the same thing everywhere we go? I've seen you do it. You'll guide people there, right? I'll be a little bit more direct, brutally honest, right? Paul Akers, he tore me up. I'm trying to follow Paul Akers.
Because he loves you.
If Paul didn't love you, he'd not talk to you.
Yeah.
But because he loved you, he's like, all right, hey, listen, you're the problem. You're the leader. Everything's your fault. You did this, you fix it. And that's the message, right? But what do you think is that barrier? I've got an example, but I want to ask you that beforehand.
What is the barrier of taking that ownership, you mean?
Yeah, like why do you see so many people in charge of companies or CEOs and they're just not doing it? They're not doing the thing. They say they want the thing, they had the meeting about the thing, they talked about the meeting about the thing, they have a special group about the meeting about the thing, and they have the poster on the wall. But have they done the thing?
I think it's different thing for different leaders. And one very common is they don't understand. They do not understand the concepts, and they're in a corporate world where there's competition and there's politics, and we lose track of what we're really there for, is serve the customer. And you do that by understanding the shop floor or the gemba, where the value is produced. It could be also, I've seen fear, so the fear of the unknown. So why change, right? You don't want to change because it's fearful. If we've done it like this, we've been successful, we get our bonuses. Why change if it's working correctly? And I think the third one could be just lack of understanding, really, of...
Your first one and then your third one was the same, but it's true.
Well, yeah, one is don't understand lean, but then the other one is how humans really work, because we all want to feel valued. So if you don't value the positive points of people, if you're not humanized at the level where you can value people for what they are, people lose interest.
Yeah.
And they don't want to give you more than they need to because there's been no respect. So I think the third one is value and respect your people. And that goes, it's easy to say, but how do you show that in Gemba, where they're working, where they're giving customer service? Because if they don't feel valued, if you value people and you respect them, they'll take care of the customer. We know that.
Right.
We've seen it. In our lean world, that is a phrase that we hear very much, but very little people understand how that is applied with the people, right?
Yeah.
And I don't mean respect to say, oh, I will speak respectfully. That is just speaking respectfully. Be respectful is much more broader than that.
Leaving it better than you found it, think of the next person, your night shift, I'm going to leave it good for night shift, day shift. I'm going to leave it good. I'm going to think of my customer. How are they, what's their experience when they open the box? Recognition.
Celebration. Admiring the little things people do.
So here's a pet peeve of mine. This happened twice over 2 different years. The first time I was in Ireland. I had 2 companies, not just one company. Here we are, we're at the Lean Summit. It's being put on by an Irish company, Seating Matters. They're freaking incredible. They're humble. They're one of the #1 lean companies in the world. I had 2 Irish companies sitting at my table and they said, oh, Hugh, I can never do what you do with the whole lean and the 2-second lean and the meetings. No one would ever go up. No one ever do it. Listen, Hugh, we're not American like you. No, you're making a fucking excuse. You're in Ireland at a Seating Matters event with the #1 or one of the #1 companies for 2-second lean in the world, that they deeply get it, and you're saying that, oh, Irish people are different?
They made it happen.
No. The next year, we were in the UK. I had 2 other UK companies. Oh, no. Oh, my guys would never do that. I went to China. No YouTube, no Facebook, no Gmail, no ability for videos. There was no 2-second lean in Mandarin. There was no ability for anything. And I got 2-second lean up and running at a deep level, internalized for the people. Mm-hmm. People are making an excuse. The leaders are making an excuse.
Well, I got to tell you, Hugo, 15 years ago, I was that guy.
You were that guy, okay.
I was that guy. So
no, this never happened. My guys won't do that.
I went
what changed
to
your
Japan
mind?
because I was interested on lean, and 15 years ago, I will not say the name, it wasn't Paul Akers, it was another outfit that made study missions in Japan, let's call them like that. And we visit everything. And the conclusion, I remember sitting in a sushi place. I looked at my management and we all, including myself, we said, this is not possible. This is only possible in Japan. Only the Japanese can do this. And I went with that mindset, and for 15 years, I thought that was just it.
Dang.
And so I thought the lean was just doing tools and applying tools. But that culture that I saw at Toyota and at 15 different tier 1 or 2 or different suppliers from all variety. It wasn't nothing specific, but they all had that culture. It was not possible to bring to the Western world.
So what changed your mind?
Well, it was a process. When I discovered 2-second lean, I understood there was something there. And when I proved myself that could be done, I really didn't know if it could be done. But when I saw it, lived it, I understood that humans are humans here in China, in Japan, in Mexico. Germany, and they're all the same. They want to be valued, they want to be respected, and they want to be encouraged. And when you do that and respect them and you bring them up, you can see the potential flourish of everyone potential that they have inside. But I did not understand that or how to do that until I find out after understanding the deepness of what really a lean culture meant.
You know, I think what misses the point is that our job is not to be the leader, not to be the CEO or the owner. Our job is to clone us. It's to respect people. It's to train and develop people. The moment you internalize that, man, I think I listened to the book and read the book and I went to some meetings and I like understood it at a surface level and I was like, why do other people have these results? But I just kept trying. I didn't make the excuse. And then once I clicked, my job is to develop other people. Your job is to develop other people. Your job is not to do your job. Your job is to clone yourself. Imagine if your company, right? Your company you were at, maybe it was 5,000 people, maybe it was 2,000 people, maybe it was 60 people. What if you had 60 yous?
It'd be unbelievably, indestructibly, how do you call it?
Yeah,
unstoppable.
it wouldn't be what could we do, it'd be what couldn't we do.
And just hearing you talk about developing people, I had the misconception that developing people is putting them in a room, showing them PowerPoints, which I've seen that happen and waste too many time and money on that. That is not developing people, guys. Developing people is getting them out of their shell, making them believe in themselves, helping them understand what waste is, and unleashing, letting them fix it. And just being able to value that person, that they are capable of fixing their own issues. It's the key. That's developing people. How do you do that? That's the key. But it's not sitting them in a chair and giving them block classes over PowerPoint.
Right.
That is just waste. I'm not saying it's not have some value, but to transform a culture, that's what really development.
I think you're talking about a traditional training culture from like corporate America. I think you have that leadership side of things. Paul Akers was a great leader, good mentor to me. And 95% of the time, he was always nurturing, caring. He'd ask questions, pose questions, disagree a little bit. 5% of the time, he knew that I needed the kick in the ass. The reason I'm the way I am, the reason I'm so direct is because so many leaders, first off, if you like me, you don't like me, I don't care. I'm running my own companies. But so many leaders just need a kick in the ass because they're afraid and there's a fear to them and they just need someone to say, just do it, man. And some people need to be like, hey man, listen, you gotta do it, you're gonna be fine. And some people need to be like, hey listen, you're a piece of crap, fucking do it, which Paul did to me. Paul intuitively knew me because he's a good leader. He needs a kick in the ass, I'm gonna give him a kick in the ass. And by the way, if Paul ever tears you a new asshole, it's because he gives a shit about you. Otherwise he won't talk to you. If he's being really harsh to you, it's because he cares.
Exactly. I've had friends come over and say, hey,
Paul's being mean to me.
Means he loves you. So you know, again, I'm just thinking of the experience today. The owner, not the CEO, the owner of the company. He told us, you guys still don't convince me in doing this and that. And, you know, we answered him, we don't need to convince you. If you don't get this, go right ahead and keep doing what you're doing. It's your problem, not ours. We're here to tell you how to ramp up, not make the mistakes that we have done. But it was very clear to us, I think in the first 20 minutes, we figured out what his problems was.
Seconds, maybe? I think with 30 seconds?
Yeah. So anyway, it was hilarious. But because just by our looks, with a lean friend here visiting a company was very unique because we understood what was going on.
We're like, whoa, you know what it was? You remember that guy in Paul's book where he was like, listen man, you don't know your head from your ass, you don't know what the fuck you're doing? We weren't like that, but like immediately we're like, this guy has no idea what he's doing. But we were there because he asked us to be there, right? The guy from Paul's book, he was like, I need an ERP. And that guy was like, you don't know what you're doing. You need these two guys, right? These two Japanese American guys or whatever. And For us, it was like we intuitively knew. And what I really appreciate about Alex, he's a freaking great guy, and he's really, really intense, and he's really good at lean, is intuitively, immediately, without saying anything, he's a lean leader. He's made it because immediately the both of us knew to guide their team to the answers, to develop their team, and to handhold their leadership to watch us, because we're doing hands, heads, hearts. Here's the way you do it. We're gonna show you. Now we're gonna whisper in your ear while you do it. Instantly, we saw the problem. We could have solved it immediately, but that's a normal consultant. No. It's about leadership.
Show them to fish.
Yeah, show them the fish. To grow their people. And we're growing their people, but we're showing the example of how the leadership should grow their people. But why do you think so many people are so afraid?
Because it's unknown. They don't know any better. No one has invested time on them.
I think that there's a fear-based thing. There's something called imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome?
Can you explain me that?
Like you're faking it. And like maybe someone's listening to this right now and they're like, oh man, like, oh shit, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of making this up as I go along. Guess what? Everyone's making up when they go along. No one has any idea what they're doing. You're just doing the best you can with whatever the tools you have.
And I think learning the principles of lean can solve you answer a lot of questions. And literally the first 5 seconds we walked on that door, we saw a couple guys that at the end, I think they spent 3 hours doing nonsense. And we're like, why are you doing that task? Well, everybody's doing it. Our competition is doing it. Okay, but why do you want to be like your competition?
Right.
Well, because we need to be equal or better. But does your customer need that? Does your customer really want that? They're like that.
Overprocessing.
And that's when I saw the light of the owner, of his eyes. I could see that he understood. It's like,
clicked.
It needs to be customer driven. I need to understand what my customer really wants.
The owner has very high standards. He's he's a driven guy, and he's like, okay, it needs to meet my standard. No. It needs to meet your customer standard. What does your customer want? And I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, but the great thing about that leader is that I think he's humble enough to understand that he needed to look at things differently. So I think he's going to be really good. I
think that with the humble leadership thing, right, if you're still listening, you're probably a humble leader. Because again, let's go back when I was like, you're a piece of crap. That was an ego play. And people who have egos, shut the video off. What does that guy know? He doesn't know anything. And it's about, you're doing the best you can with the information you have, and your job is to develop your team. And there's tools to it. Okay, but I want to separate things. You walked in and you said there's lean stuff, the lean tools. I want to separate real quick for people, because there's a misconception with lean. 2 second lean versus lean, what is it? 2 second lean is a culture building mechanism that sits over here. In my opinion, it's 70% of the battle. 30% of the battle is the lean tools. That's your one-piece flow, that's your whatever, that's your customer driven stuff, push, Kanban, software. What your service actually is. I sell oil pipe. I clean old people in the shower. Whatever it is. Whatever your business is, that's the 30%. 70% is 2 second lean, which is the culture building.
Yeah, the culture.
30% is the tools. It's too many people I see jump to the tools and they're like, I don't know why it's not working. It works, but then when I step away, it implodes. And then,
Well, that's what happened to me when I went to Japan again 15 years ago. I saw the tools implemented, but I didn't understand that why they were having success was not the tools, it was their culture.
The tools are the sexy part. That's the easy part.
They're visual, so it's easy to copy.
Right.
So it's easy to say, I want that, therefore they're doing this tool, so I copy that tool. But like Ryan Turney says, what you need to learn, you can see or copy just by taking a picture.
Exactly. So much of it, the Japanese, I don't want to say they get a cheat, right? Because culturally, their whole country is just far better. Let's work as a team. Yeah. Let's be more humble.
Yeah, they're set up to fast track, let's say, that kind of methodology.
But in the West, we have to teach that. And it's just different. It's so counterintuitive. And so
not impossible, but...
Well, to Today we brought, yesterday we brought the leader, we were at today, the owner, he had never seen another lean company. We took him to a lean company. The leader of that company is JB, by the way, in
He's
Houston.
a rock star.
Rock star, just super excited about Monday.com.
Good friend, JB. You rock, dude.
He was like, oh my God. We spent an hour and a half. We were in the bathroom. We were in the break room.
Oh, the office. We couldn't even
We were in
go
the
out.
office.
Yeah.
We were there for like 4 hours. 3 hours we didn't even step foot in the shop because he was so excited to show the cultural building side, the tools, the break room. Alex and I were like, Alex was like, there's no SOP by the coffee maker. How are you supposed to expect people to clean coffee? And I was like, hey man, have you tried to just like, I had a lean initiative. We take all the doors off the cabinets. No cabinet doors, only shelves in the whole facility. Because if there's a door that closes, there's shit behind it. And we jive. And you know what? We were all geeking out about that. And the new guy, new to lean, he's like, what the hell are they talking about?
Yeah,
Multi-million dollar facility, one of the best machining companies in the United States, in the world. And we were like not even caring about that because we're talking about the bathroom.
Yeah.
Because that's the important part, because that's what builds the culture. And then later when you're like, oh yeah, we should do one piece flow, and you make the tool and improvement, it sticks.
It sticks. That culture is everything.
We're talking about Velcro, we're like, man, Velcro, the tip should be down for the, that's funny.
Quick pause with the video. By the way, if you like what you're hearing, we have more information in a free Facebook group below and totally free tools. If you go check out the description, hughcarnahan.com/resources on more resources on how to make money in your business and make money investing. Back to the video.
All right, well, any parting words for the team, or we want to dive into anything else? Huh?
Well, I go back to everything is a leadership problem. It all comes back to leadership.
It's your fault.
So I think the theme of this podcast, if we would like to send some message, we talked about this. We say, what we're going to talk about. It's really about leadership. It's really about taking ownership. And if there's a problem, that's not the root cause. If you go down to the root problem, is leadership has not done his role of valuing and empowering people to think for themselves and give them the empowerment to fix problems. And that's very broad, I know, but that's the truth. I've seen it over and over.
Leadership. Anytime you and I talk to someone, or someone reaches out to us on WhatsApp and they're like, but I don't know about this, they're making an excuse. Why do you think so many people make an excuse?
Well, again, because they haven't understood. For me, it's clear. If a leader makes an excuse, and I probably have done them in the past, for sure, because I did not understand the whole concept. When I understand the whole concept, I don't even say anything. I know it's my problem. I need to fix it.
Yeah.
But before you don't know, so human nature trying to reflect that to something else is trying to find an answer. Well, it should be that. It should be the light. It should be electricity. It should be... No, it's leadership to not do his part to make things happen, to make that culture reactive, to stop and fix problems. Because that's all it is any process, we all have processes. No matter if you fly a plane, if you do an operation in a patient, if you're making wine, if you're making phones, right? We all have processes how to do stuff. We know that. And you can only fix those processes if you're humble enough to accept that you have deficiencies on it.
Right.
And that it only comes if from the top down, you start having the culture of, we're maybe not perfect and we need to fix it. But when the top management thinks they're very good, well, that's why we make excuses, because we are very good. It must be another person. It must be the supplier. It must be the electricity. It must be the machine.
Right.
It must be something else, the inserts, whatever it is. It's always the fault of someone else when the culture is not from.
Yeah. I think a great point of that, and I'm glad you brought it up, is just, please don't take what I'm saying like, just do it, it's your fault, you're the leader, pull your head out of your ass.
No.
When I say that, I'm like, listen, everything's my fault. I've got 5 companies? 6? I don't remember. All the companies, if anything goes wrong, the product defect, the customer's upset, I lost $100,000 this year. in the last 8 months in one of my companies. That was my fault. Shame on me. But I tell my team every day.
Why is it your fault? Elaborate on that.
Why is it my fault?
Yeah, they need an example.
Okay. It's my fault for 2 reasons. One, it's a good thing that we didn't notice that we lost $100,000, which means we're doing good enough to not notice. But then also it's a bad thing because we lost $100,000 and we didn't notice, which means I wasn't checking the metrics. My team didn't know to check the metrics. We weren't paying attention. We were asleep at the wheel. We had poor processes. We weren't checking it out. Poor training, yet we meet every day. We claim to be, oh, it's Hugh and he's the guy that's in charge and he's doing the lead. We don't know what we're doing. What I tell my guys every day, listen, we're charging ahead. We're gonna do a morning meeting every day. We're gonna make mistakes. It's fine to make mistakes, but when you make a mistake, we will process the mistake, we'll implement, we will do the root cause. We will not treat the symptom. We will find the real root cause by asking the 5 whys. We will then implement a process to fix the 5 whys, and then we will make sure that it doesn't happen again. One mistake is okay. The second time,
So what would have happened Hugh, if you would have blamed it to something else? What would your team have reacted? And how would that culture been affected in your organization?
That's great. I love the question. Okay, so if I would have blamed people, I would have felt better, but I would have been lying inside, right? So if you're blaming your team for something,
Joe, you did not check the indicators. You should have told us that. You're fired.
yeah, happens too often. No.
That's a typical, right?
Typical guy. It's that guy's fault. No. I did something probably leadership related that my management didn't train the people to check the indicator, and that we didn't have a system and process to check the indicator. And thank God it's only an indicator and it wasn't a safety screen to make sure the guy doesn't get his hand cut off, which definitely happened at one of the previous facilities before I took over. So if you blame your team, then they feel like shit. They're gonna think you're an asshole. The first thing I said, guys, we lost $100,000. This is all fucked up. It's my fault because we didn't do this, we didn't do that, we didn't do this. We need to figure this out. We're gonna implement processes. I'm sorry for not catching it sooner. What are we gonna do about it? Because you guys are the smart people. I'm gonna listen to what you have to say. What about it? What about the process allowed us to lose 100 grand? Was it just the market? Sometimes the market does that.
So you learned from accepting and acknowledging that we could get better. And it was not one person. You got everyone on their toes to look at that in different areas, right?
Even if it was one person, which it wasn't. It was one person, it was me. But even if it was like truly like, it's Jim's fault, what a piece of crap.
Right.
There's still a process failure that happened that allowed Jim to be able to get that far.
It was just the first one and to happen.
Right.
But it could have been anyone, right?
There's probably Jim, Bob, Sally. Everyone probably made the mistake, and Jim happened to be the one who got caught, right? Or it could have been.
Or it was the worst one.
Right.
You know, whatever the numbers turned out to be high enough where you noticed it.
Yeah. And you know what? If my company closes, it's my fault. My guys aren't trained, it's my fault. What am I going to get for punishing them? First off, I don't know, it doesn't even compute that you're going to punish someone for that. No, we're going to do training. We're going to train to it. We're going to implement it into the morning routine, the morning meeting. Everyone's going to teach the defect. By the way, the defect was vacancy, where we have rental properties and a bunch of them were vacant, but we didn't adjust our numbers. And when interest rates raised, our expenses raised, but we didn't account for it. Because interest rates raised, our loan cost increased, but we left our statistics the same.
Okay.
So we didn't think to notice. How we lost $100,000? We lost $1,200 here, $1,800 there,
So
over time.
that person,
Jim.
Jim,
Come on,
let's call him Jim. Jim,
with the great hair and the
You
UK,
felt like-
the glasses.
like really bad. So how is he feeling today after you recognized that there was a failure in the system, it wasn't Jim, and you encourage him to find solutions? How does he feel? What is he doing today? Has he grown? Has he up, down? Tell us.
Well, I'd hope Jim has grown. If he was the right person on the team, or it depends, right? If you're a mature organization.
In your experience, this person, this exact.
If you're a brand new company, if you're brand new to lean, Jim's probably like, holy shit, I was supposed to get fired for this. This is crazy. I feel like a whole new life.
Yeah, but when the leader does not blame it on Jim,
Yeah.
this Jim, how did he feel? How did he?
Feels great. Usually he feels very humble. Maybe he still feels bad, but he's like, oh shit, like this is a second chance. I'll tell you a story of a guy. His real name, I'll change his name. We'll call him Tyler. I was like, yeah, guys, do improvements, change things. You have the authority to make small improvements, do it. Fix what bugs you. He's like, this bugs me here. You can't see it, just vent. And the vent is a fart fan where you turn the light on and it sucks the air because it's a bathroom. And it's like squeaky, so he hated it. And we bought a new fart fan and he's like, all right, I got an idea. I'm gonna take a sawzall, I'm gonna cut the hole. And so he starts cutting in the ceiling with a sawzall and he hits a water pipe and there's just water is just coming. And it's completely soaked, everything's crazy. I don't know what's going on. I'm like asleep, I'm in a different town because that's one town over from us. And I get this call from this guy on the weekend. And I was like, oh, this guy never calls me. That's very weird. Let's answer it. So I was like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, Hugh, I made a defect, really big mistake. I'm so sorry. I cut into
the water pipe.
And this is like causing tens of thousands of dollars of damage right now. And I was like, oh, well, that sounds really bad. Is everyone okay? He said, yeah, everyone's okay. Everyone's safe. No one good? Okay. Did you find the water valve shut off? It's like, yeah, we were able to shut the water off of the street. I was like, okay, cool. All right, well, let me know what happens when you figure out what to do. And I was like, all right, I'll talk to you later. And I hung up the phone. He genuinely thought he was gonna get fired. That was like on a Saturday. Monday morning during morning meeting, I was like, hey guys, this happened. Let's use it as a training example. First off, no one's allowed to take sawzalls because it could have been an electrical line. And thank God it was just a water line. And we got it fixed. And it only cost us $2,000 to get an emergency plumber there to fix it. And by the way, we didn't have enough money for that. But the guy was trying to make an improvement and I'm proud of him for it.
Oh, see that is big because you got to see the deepness of what the mistake is coming from. As we've been taught, it's always a process.
Was it a mistake because it was a mistake? Or was it a mistake because
trying something good, things can go wrong. So if you kill it and you penalize that,
you can't squash the creativity.
No one will want to try anything anymore, right?
They're like, oh, what happened to Tyler? They're like, oh, dude, that guy caused like $2,000 worth of damage. He was gonna get fired. He got praise. That's weird. And I was like, all right, well, hey, listen, you caused the defect. Let me know what you do to fix it. And I hung up.
Sometimes some of the managers, leaders, they have other leaders above. And sometimes that's what happens. They are fearful because they probably got their hand slapped some other time and they're fearful to make a mistake.
Well, most companies, like before we get to lean or us, right? Whoever us is, if you're probably watching, it's us. All the people were trained to obey and not to think. Managers took the credit. If it was a good idea, they punished people, they blamed it. If it was a bad idea, everyone took the credit and everyone was trained to obey. Hey, I have this great idea about this thing. Listen, you shut the hell up. We hired you to do this. I don't want your ideas. And when you develop that from your people, imagine you have 100 people. You have 100 incredible people that can teach you, train, make their own job better to help you. That sounds like a dream.
Yeah.
You don't want to squash that creativity. So why do you think people are so fearful? I mean, what's with the excuses? We just talked about this for 20 minutes? What's with the excuses? Why are people so fearful? If you're in the UK, why are you so fearful, bro? Why don't you go to the CCP? Why don't you deal with some real tyranny? They're terrified, by the way. They're super terrified. You guys are way better off than the CCP folks. But anyways, well, what's the fear? What's the fear?
You know, the other thing I've seen also, besides fear, it takes a lot of emotional energy and commitment to making that happen.
In layman terms, they don't give a shit.
And so a lot of people are not willing to do that, right?
Yeah.
It's not part of their job description or part of their goals.
I think it's easier because half or a little bit more than half the people listening, they're owners. And so they're like, I can't even imagine. Like, this is my livelihood. This is my family.
Yeah.
Like, if I lose this company, it's everything, right?
Yeah.
If I'm Felipe and I'm cutting granite, it's like, oh, this is my life. But yeah, if you're middle management somewhere, you're like, it's not my job.
Some also I have seen, their managers, they have fear of like public speaking or going out to the shop floor.
Right.
I have seen fear in managers' eyes to go to the shop floor and talk to people.
You know what I like about this? I have a solution for it, and I tell everyone who asks me. Say, cool, hey, listen, I get it, you don't want to do public speaking, but if you want to work for a company and get paid to not do what they request, that'll be a different company. On Monday morning, you're doing morning meeting.
Yeah, that breaks the bubble, sure.
It's just that simple. Listen, I appreciate it. I know you've been with us for 25 years. Your morning meeting. Tomorrow, Monday, your morning meeting. I'll help you, I'll teach you, I'll train you, I'll walk you through every step. But if you're not gonna do it, don't show up on Monday.
And I mean, I've seen it at all levels, huh?
So that right there, I think that's the line. There's a line in the sand, right? I think it was Paul probably kicked me in the ass at some point. It was like, just do it. Why are you pussyfoot? I was afraid of my team with pushback against me, and it was frustrating. I was trying to work around. I was trying to be nice.
So what's the alternative? You stay like you are, which is not good.
I was a huge piece of shit. I was being a pussy. And what I did was I said, well, probably Paul kicked my ass 90% chance. He said, just do it. Draw the line in the sand. Quit being fearful. If they're gonna leave because they're doing morning meeting, they're not the right people for the team anyways.
Absolutely.
It's great, no severance.
Yeah. No, definitely. That could be a topic.
Not only was it no severance, it was also no. And okay, I can speak directly to like second gen people. Like the parents created the company and the second generation's taking over. It's like, well, I worked for the company for 30 years and Bill never let me. I can do whatever I want. No, I'm not doing this meeting. I'm not coming up with it. It happens, right? And someone's smiling behind the camera right now. There's listening to this. Guess what? You're in charge now.
And like today, we saw that, people have been doing this for years or months or whatever. And when you see waste and how you're doing things, it's hard to accept that you actually been doing it badly for so many years and you did not see the waste, right? And so sometimes you don't feel bad that someone comes from outside and tells you something different. But so that's where you got to work on developing people to be humble enough to accept it, because once you accept it, you can make that happen.
I know we're being really harsh in this because you just need to listen to it, but the way we did that...
Because we have no one shooting at us here in this room.
but the way we did that wasn't like, hey, listen, you suck at this manufacturing thing, because that's not the way to do it. We were like, yo, we're going to do the dice game. This is what one piece flow looks like. And then we asked them questions. Based on what you just learned, what's examples of this in this room right now? And they're like, oh my gosh, it's all this stuff. I'm like, do you have any ideas? It's not, we immediately saw it, but we had the tools. We gave them the tools and we started teaching them by asking them questions.
That Socratic method, I just love it. That's my favorite. Just go out on the shop floor, ask questions because they know. And they learn by trying to answer the question. So you have the part here. What are you doing with the part now? Oh, I'm going to walk there. How many parts? How many steps? 20 steps. How can you do that less? Well, I can fly, but that would not be possible. But maybe if I bring that machine. Oh, there you go. Do it.
You know what I like about that is, it happens more often. It's very frequent. Where you'll be asking, like, oh, well, what would you do? How would you do that? Why would you do that? What's going on with that? What's another idea? Sometimes people will say some shit, and I'll be like, oh my God.
Lucas showed me that.
Let's try it.
You got to do the questions that no one is asking.
We were talking about the guys today. Two things. One guy was like, what if there's a step stool and I can step on it? He was joking. And I was like, I have no idea. I'm pretty sure you were joking when you said that. But if that's really a thing, you bring the step stool, bring a box, bring some 2x4s, let's try it.
Yeah.
The other guy was joking. He's like, oh, I'm going to have a machine hanging from the ceiling next. And I was like,
why not?
Okay, would it make it easier? I mean, that's 2 holes, some chain, 4 holes. Let's try it. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, what? I was just joking. I was like, but if you weren't,
break the paradigm.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
Because he thought he was saying some funny, smart ass thing. I was like, dude, if that works, let's freaking try. Oh, my favorite guy. His name is Richard. Oh my gosh. He's my maintenance guy. Wasn't even a part of production. Hugh, you're always talking about one piece flow. One piece flow, one piece flow. What do you say? You're crazy. You want me to bring the 40-foot shipping container into the facility and you make the part into the box into the shipping container? I was like, first off, I don't know how to do that. But yes, if we can do that and you figure it out, I will give you $10,000. Can't do it right now, but maybe we can't. That's exactly what I'm saying, yes. I'm saying if we can do that, let's do it. Because I was just like, yeah, I have all the parts flow into the box and then they'll go to the warehouse for the shipping later. He was trying to be a smart ass. And I grabbed him, like not physically, but I was like, dude, seriously, if you can figure that out, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because you're taking it further than I did. I'm building him up and he was like, he was really uncomfortable. He was like, whoa!
Oh, now I have to figure it out.
And I was like, no, I'm not joking. I will pay you 10 grand. You figure that out.
And you know what's very important is to celebrate those tryouts. If you try something out, it doesn't work, please celebrate it with your people. Go to your morning meeting and say bravo for trying.
Like the guy who cut the water line.
Yeah, exactly.
He tried it. It was horrible. It cost us way too much money. He gets one mistake. Don't do it again. Also, there's a new process, so this doesn't happen again.
Just don't be a massacre here. Don't bring it to work. Yeah. But yeah, it's celebrating everything. Trying or that you had luck and it worked, right?
So what's one piece of advice, we're gonna wrap up, we've been talking about an hour now. What's one piece of advice that if you're a leader on the fence or you're timid or you don't know what to do, what's one thing they can do?
Be humble and really act like you don't know squat. Go out to the shop floor and say, you guys are really the ones that know how to do things. How do you think we should do stuff? Just play the humble card and go out there and listen a lot. I learned how to listen. I used to be, in my previous job, an expert, so-called expert. And I thought that everything that had to do with technology and equipment would bring us in the spearhead of the competition, right? We would be the leaders. And what was I wrong? Because even though that is very important, it means nothing if you have no culture.
It's just a tool.
It's just a nice machine that I'm not engaged and I'm afraid I'm not going to make it perform to its best of its abilities. So the best advice is really be humble and listen. Don't think you're the expert. And if you are, just, sip it, open your ears and eyes and try to have a dialogue respecting what people have to say and empower them.
If you're truly an expert, just lead with questions.
Just lead questions. Be humble and get out there in the shop. That's what I would say.
Yeah. I don't know shit. I'm a dumbass.
There you go. And Hughes' word, that's the translation.
I'll actually say that to people, especially the Gemba guys, man. Come on, you had Gemba guys.
I think Paul teach you well.
Yeah. I'll be like, listen, I have no fucking idea. Tell me about this machine. Why would you do that? You start asking questions,
And
they open up. No one ever asked them their opinion. And they're so excited to share.
Who was it that said that's why you have 2 ears and 1 mouth? Because you need to hear twice as much as you talk? Was that...
It's Gandhi?
I can't remember.
Jesus?
No, I think it's...
The Pope?
I'll come back to me.
It's Paul Akers.
Yeah, I know. I think it was the author of Smith. We met him before he passed away.
It's Paul's mentor.
Yes,
And it's not Bob Taylor. He's still alive for now.
Yes. But I think in any case, I do believe that you need to listen more than you speak. Because when you speak and you have authority, they really stop explaining you what they're having in their minds and hearts.
A lot of times they'll just do what you say. I screwed my company over, or my leadership team, like 2 weeks ago in the wrong group chat. I was like, hey, can someone do this thing? And so like 5 of my guys jumped on it. Immediately, they want to please, they want to do the thing, and it was in the wrong group chat that looked similar. I was like, shit. They're doing exactly what I want, which is immediately take care of the thing. And they're trained to do it, so they dropped everything to do it. And I was like, oh, sorry. It was supposed to be for this other group chat. They're already aware of the situation. It was just more information, and it caused chaos with like 3 department heads or something like that.
Sorry, I remember Shingo.
One piece of advice has, for leadership, pull your head out of your ass.
How do you do that?
Just do it. Just do it. Just go to the Gemba.
Nike way, yeah?
Yeah, just do it. Go to the Gemba. Stop making an excuse for yourself. If you're in the West, if you are listening to this and you're speaking English, there's probably a good chance you're making a freaking excuse. Stop making an excuse. Go to the Gemba. Be humble. Listen. Just go. Like, don't be scared. At first I was all timid. Oh my gosh, I'm this new guy. I'm a second generation kid coming in when I was 27 years old. I'm this new guy and these people have been here for 30 years and I was scared of them because of what they knew. But you know what? After I got to know them, they were scared of me. Everyone is scared. Everyone has imposter syndrome at all times. And the people who have egos, they probably shouldn't be in an organization anyways, and those are the people who turn off the camera earlier, which is why I intentionally did that.
I'm just thinking when you're saying people go out there and be humble, it also brings, if it's important for the top management, the leader of the company, to go see how you put a little screw inside the product. No one asks the question, why does it have a washer, not two? That level of detail, right? It sends a huge message that it's important for him. My goodness, it should be important for me here at my station, at what I do here for this company.
No, I love that.
That is...
Not only that, it eliminates any excuse for your lower level management, your middle level management, your upper level management. If the owner's like, shouldn't that be a nylon washer? Two things will happen. Either one, it'll be like, no, this is what it was spec'd with, it should be this. Why? It was on the sheet. Why is it on the sheet? You backtrack it. Either A, it's wrong, or B, it's like, oh crap, should it be a nylon washer? Do I even know? Did I grab the wrong box? Everyone in between, you'll see it. Well, if you like this content, then make sure you follow Alex's channel. He's an incredible guy, humble, kick-ass guy. I'm so thankful to be here. He is, as Paul Akers says, the next Paul Akers, which makes him the next Bob Taylor's grandson. So we'll leave you with that. Like and subscribe. Thanks so much for sticking around to watch. Please help us by watching this next video.